Hey, what's up? It's Tati back again. It's Wednesday. You guys know what that means. AEW Dynamite. I'm not even gonna lie. The last thing I saw was the Young Bucks coming out, and I knocked out for a few hours. I have been feeling a little bit under the weather, but I thought the show would be interesting enough for me to stay awake because I thought that it's a go home show, so we're gonna get some really good stuff. But honestly, I don't know. That first hour, it was decent, but just not good enough to keep me awake. Now, we do have Full Gear on Saturday. I did say that I would do the live stream. However, if I'm not feeling well, I don't know if I'll be able to do that. So we'll be able to see. And also, I do have an opportunity to do the live stream with a group of people, which would be a little bit more interesting for me to be able to have other people on the panel that I can, be able to interact and watch the show with. So I don't know if I'll go with that option, but I'll let you guys know in advance. So let's talk about Dynamite tonight. First match of the night, we had Hook and Orange Cassidy versus Wheeler Yuta and Jon Moxley. Now, we do have Hook and Orange Cassidy that come out first, and while Mox and Wheeler are making their entrance, making their way down to the ring, here come Orange Cassidy and Hook showing that they bout it, and that they're going to come out and hit first. Cool, no problem with that. This was a great match. I really did feel like in terms of this match, this was a really good experience for Hook because in terms of what we've been seeing with Hook since his career started, he's been having nothing special, in his career. So him rolling around with Orange Cassidy should do some good for his career. And, without that, he wouldn't be in a match like this with Moxley and Wheeler Yuta. So I did enjoy him in this match. Now, you guys know we have Moxley versus Orange Cassidy for Full Gear. So we got a chance to see a little bit of taste of them in the ring. Now, there was a really interesting spot here where Orange Cassidy thinking that he gonna just take the win for the team and goes and give Moxley an orange punch, and Moxley just stood there like a freaking robot and like, bitch, try again. And I was shook. Even Orange Cassidy was shook. He's like, whoa, what the hell? That normally gets people laid down flat on the mat. So Moxley just letting people know that, hey, this little things that Orange Cassidy be doing don't faze me. And ultimately, we do have Moxley and Wheeler Yuta taking the win. We have Wheeler Yuta pinning Hook with a seatbelt, and Hook was not going to get out of that, so they end up taking the win. Kind of surprised to see Hook being pinned here simply because we've only seen that maybe once or twice so far in his career. I think twice where he's actually been pinned. And that makes sense, though, because Orange Cassidy is the champion. They're not going to have the champion be pinned by anyone at this point, right before the pay-per-view, so I get it. Really great match. Moxley gets on the mic and he lets Orange Cassidy know that you ain't shit and you never gonna be shit. And I'm gonna prove that to you on Saturday when I take that title off your waist. Moxley, I am absolutely on the same page with you. Please take that title away. So now we have the Golden Jets, Paul White and Kota Ibushi. They're making their way in the building. They all suited up with their nice little suits on. Well, let me not say nice, because I don't think they were all that. They weren't looking GQ. But Kenny Omega, if you wore that suit with no shirt, I probably would not have fallen asleep so early. That would have definitely motivated me to keep my eyes open if you didn't have a shirt on with that suit. Anyway, we had our next segment with Tony Schiavone in the ring. We have Swerve and Prince Nana who comes out. They swerving and driving, and I'm cool with that. I love the song, love the dance. All of a sudden, it kind of grew on me. Now, here comes Hangman coming down to the ring, and he walking like he got a big set of grapefruits. And I'm just like, we're about to get something really good from Hangman. Now, Tony Schiavone obviously ends up clearing it. We have the useless AEW security guards surrounding the ring. When you see these dudes, you know there's going to be a physical altercation. Now, we have Hangman pretty much doing all the talking here. He calls Swerve a coward, and he says that the Mogul Embassy and Prince Nana are just using him. That Prince Nana, ever since he's been with him, doing that stupid little dance, he's been getting popular. He got a new shirt out. He's getting money. People buying the merch and stuff. And Prince Nana taking that money that he's been using, riding onto Swerve's coattails to buy weed from the local high school kids. And I'm just like, hey man, you got some proof with these little allegations you're throwing out there? If not, I wouldn't be saying anything. Now, I'm not gonna lie. Hangman really come off strong in this promo. Usually, Hangman don't do it for me, but I really do feel like the promo that we got from him on Rampage was great, and this was another great one too. And not being biased here, I would love to see Swerve, kill him with some promo during this moment, but I really feel like this moment was really for Hangman Adam Page, so I'm really grateful that he had a really good showing here, and he came off really, really strong with this promo. Now, for this little meeting that they have in the ring here, there is a stipulation that the two of them cannot touch each other. And if they do get into a physical altercation, not only is the match off at Full Gear, but they will also be suspended for the remainder of 2023. So they definitely don't want that to happen. Heyman said something like Swerve House is going to be at the bottom of hell, which is probably where he's going to go after he's done with him. Now, he does drop the mic, but then he ends up picking it back up, and then he says to Swerve that, they can't touch each other, but they ain't say shit about me putting my hands on Prince Nana. Then he lunges at Prince Nana. Prince Nana ain't do nothing to nobody. Like, well, how you lunging at him? He starts attacking him, and it just goes on for, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 seconds or whatnot. And you could tell Swerve really wants to go and help Prince Nana, but he cannot physically touch Hangman. So this was smart for Hangman. And then here comes AEW's useless security guards coming in and breaking it up after Hangman already got a couple of licks on Prince Nana. And then here is Swerve taking Prince Nana out the ring. They're making their way to the back. Poor Prince Nana. He did not deserve this. Hangman does end up attacking the security guards after this. And to be honest, they deserve it because they're not doing their job. So why not, right? Great moment for Hangman Adam Page. And seeing something like this, seeing how strong he came off tonight, makes me feel like he's probably really going to get that win at Full Gear. Up next, we have the Kingdom and Roderick Strong. They're backstage with Lexi, and Roderick is letting everyone know that he knows who the devil is, and he's going to call his bestie, Adam Cole, to let him know too. So they got him on video call, and here is Roderick explaining to Adam that the devil is MJF. Now, Adam don't want to hear not one word he has to say and ends up hanging up on Roderick. Now, Roderick seems really, really frustrated. And to be honest, I would be frustrated too. This is part of the reasons why I keep feeling like the devil is actually Roderick, because there's reasons for him to be the devil. Nobody takes him seriously. He's coming off as a joke. Personally, I do feel like what he's doing is funny, and I don't have a problem with it. But I can see why someone like Roderick will end up being the devil, and then, them having the Kingdom being part of the rest of the group. It makes sense. Would people like to see that? Probably not. People want it to be someone shocking in terms of who the devil is. But I got my eye on Roderick. It seems like he's probably the devil. Now, after that, we have Sky Blue versus Red Velvet. It was a slow match. I don't think the chemistry was perfect. However, Red Velvet looks so good in the ring. Like, you can see that she's comfortable, and we haven't seen her for a long time, and she's showing up and showing out in the ring these past few matches. Watching this, though, I already knew that Sky Blue would take the win, because whoever wins this match will go against Chris Statlander and Julia Hart for the TBS title. So it was really apparent that Red Velvet was not going to take the win for storyline purposes, which I think I did not like that fact, simply because Red Velvet has looked really, really great since she's returned. And I don't want them to kind of ruin the momentum for her. It was a great effort in terms of her trying to get the win. The thing that I would complain about with this match is that it didn't really feel like these girls are fighting for a contendership for the TBS title. It just felt like just a regular match just to see who's going to take the win. I wanted to see something to hit a little bit harder. Now, towards that end of the match, the last few minutes, yeah, the energy picked up tremendously and it was great. However, I would have loved to see that type of energy throughout the whole match because the TBS title, to get that opportunity is obviously a special thing to go for. Sky Blue does take the win with a Code Blue. However, it was not executed as well as the other Code Blues that I've seen her do. And it's really important when you're doing a finisher or a really big spot in a match to have those type of moments executed perfectly. So that was unfortunate that the Code Blue was not as great as it should have been, but great effort from both ladies. But I got my eyes out on Red Velvet. She's been really, really great. Up next, we have Miro's promo. Miro is letting us know that he's going against Daniel Garcia at Collision. And I saw this coming because when Daniel had that match with Andrade, there was a slight moment where Daniel was doing that little dance in front of CJ Perry. And I was like, ooh, I don't know, bro. This is not good for you. And sure enough, here is Miro letting us know that, bitch, if you want to dance with somebody, come dance with me on Collision. So that's going to be, I think it's going to be a great match. No squash with that situation. Daniel Garcia don't need to be in a squash match. But I'm looking forward to see what Miro is going to end up doing to Daniel Garcia. Now, after that, we do have RJ City with Mariah May. They are right outside of Toni Storm's dressing room. She wants to meet Toni. Now, Luther does let them in, and Toni Storm is looking at Mariah like, bitch, I am not signing autographs right now, so what you doing up in my room? Now, obviously, Mariah introduced herself, says she's a big fan or whatever, and if Toni Storm needs anything, she will do that for her. So I think we need to keep that in mind, that at some point, we'll see some type of alliance, maybe, with Mariah and Toni. Honestly, I don't think that's needed, but who knows where that might go. Now, Toni does end up shooing Mariah and RJ City out the ring, and she asks Luther to get her a tune-up match for Rampage, and we find out that she's going to be going against Emi Sakura on Rampage, so that's going to be interesting. Now, after that, we do have Samoa Joe in a squash match against God knows who. I don't even think they said their name. This was like maybe 2 minutes, I don't know, but it was a waste of my time. After that, he does get on the mic and he have a message for MJF, and he said, look, I'm being really nice. I'm letting you know that I'm still extending my friendship to you. If I were you, I would be accepting that because you don't got no friends. So I'm waiting for an answer from you. So we'll get a chance to hear from MJF about that later. So now we have Penta and Commander teaming up versus the Young Bucks. This is where I actually fell asleep. Like, the last thing I saw was the Young Bucks coming out. But I did go back and watch the rest of the show. When I seen that there was a group of people like in the front row marking out for the Young Bucks, I was just like, that gotta be his family. Because I never seen no fans cutting up for the Young Bucks before. There's just something about them I just don't know. Like, I really like watching their match, especially this one too. It always seems like if you've seen one of their matches, you've seen them all. I think the last time I really seen a really great match from them was that match that they had with the Lucha Brothers in the Steel Cage. Damn, I forgot what pay-per-view that was. But that was the first pay-per-view I actually bought in like years, and I really did enjoy it. That was the last time I actually enjoyed the Young Bucks doing something. So like I said, this match kind of came off like something you've already seen from them. I thought it was pretty good to see Commander and Penta tagging with each other. Obviously, Rey Fenix is still injured, I believe. Whatever the situation is going on with that, we haven't seen him. So, last week we had Penta and Commander actually going against each other in a triple threat match with El Hijo de Vikingo, but this time they're partners. So, they have great chemistry. I like to see them, and I love their style as well. And they do have a great style against, the Young Bucks style. But like I said, all their matches just feel the same for me. Now, the Young Bucks, they're in their home state of California. So, yeah, the people were behind them or whatnot. However, towards the end, they end up hitting a commander in the nuts so that they can get the win. And I was just like, oh, so we being desperate before the pay-per-view. Okay, sure, let's do that. And they end up winning the match. After the match, they have a interview with Lexi, and Lexi's like, well, what the fuck was that about? Like, why y'all gotta be doing that? And, the Bucks let us know that, in order for them to take a win, they don't have to play clean. They can play dirty too if they wanted to. And here comes Kenny Omega. Honestly, I would be like, bro, mind your business. It ain't got nothing to do with you. But I'll do anything to see him with them tights on with no shirt. So it was cool to see him come up. And he's like, hey, we don't play like that. Like, we don't play dirty. Like, what was that about? They're letting Kenny know that they'll have no issue with Kenny. They're still cool with him or whatever. But they got to do whatever they got to do to make sure they take a win. But then here comes Chris Jericho, who comes out and basically talking shit about the Bucks and how obviously they're cowards and they have to resort to cheating to take a win, and that they're not going to beat them at the pay-per-view. And that really set the Young Bucks the wrong way, because they don't got a problem with Kenny. They got a problem with Chris Jericho. So one of the Bucks, I don't know, Matt, Nick, whichever one of them, ends up putting their hands on Chris Jericho, and it was on and popping. And then here comes, once again, those useless security guards that's on payroll, barely keeping these guys away from each other. But nothing like huge come out of this in terms of physicality here, because obviously we do have the Golden Jets being in the main event match. Now, after this, we do have the Guns going against God knows who. I know Peter Avalon was one of them. The other one, I don't recognize. I don't know. I don't think they said his name. Another squash match. They're wasting our time with squash matches or whatever. And obviously, the Guns, they have their eyes out on the Ring of Honor tag titles. So it is what it is. One thing that I did notice here is that, they always come out with Card Blade, the cardboard Jay White cardboard thing that they always come out with. This thing, I don't even know what's holding it up. Tape and prayers. Like, this thing is hardly holding up. And it's kind of funny to see every week. But real talk, it wouldn't be funny to see the Guns win the Ring of Honor tag titles, because I also don't see them being on Ring of Honor. So before the main event, we have Wardlow, and he has a video promo. He's saying that he knows MJF is the devil, and that last time he confronted MJF backstage, he saw the fear in the devil's eyes, and he said, you know what? I'm going to make the devil my bitch. And you know what? I did like this promo. I just want to see some more from Wardlow. I don't want to see no squash match stuff. I want to see what he can do in the ring to prepare himself to go against MJF. MJF don't be doing no squash matches. So if you're ready to get in the ring with MJF, I need to see you in the ring for like 10, 15 minutes to see how well you can actually do against him. So I don't know where we're going with Wardlow, but at least he's getting his TV time. Now up next, we have the Don Callis family versus the Golden Jets, Paul White and Kota Ibushi in a Like a Dragon street fight. And I've said this before. I do not like watching a match and feeling like I am watching a fucking commercial. This match was to promote some video game, and I get it. Kenny and them, they EVPs or whatever they are back there, and they getting their hands on the video game stuff that they like. That's cool, but I just don't like to feel like I'm watching a commercial here. So there were all types of stuff to promote this video game while you're watching this match. Personally, I don't know, whatever. This type of stuff is not really my cup of tea. I hate sometimes where these type of street fights or some certain types of hardcore matches is more about having crazy spots and less wrestling. So this is one of those situations where it's like, I don't know if I really enjoyed the match, but hey, it's on the card, whatever, I'm watching it. Brian Cage, congratulations to him. He had a baby earlier today. So imagine your wife give birth to a baby and you're on the flight to have a street fight with some other crazy dudes. What an eventful day. Now, very early in the match, we had Paul White, who gives Kyle Fletcher a chokeslam that was supposed to go through a table. He doesn't go through the table. His head hits the table and the rest of his body hits outside the table. And I'm just like, that's not supposed to happen. He's supposed to crash through the table. And I'm just like, I know his head must have been pounding from that moment on for the rest of the match. I was really nervous about Paul White being in this match because honestly, this dude, the last time we saw him when he came on TV, he looked like he was struggling to walk, and he had knee surgery and all that stuff. And obviously, he seemed to have healed from that. But just because you heal from that doesn't mean that you're able to move as well as you should in the ring. So with this not being necessarily a match that was taking place in the ring, I feel like maybe he had a little bit creative freedom to be able to do whatever it is that he wanted to do in terms of not having to be in the ring tonight. Now, there's a lot of things to unpack with this match because so many things had happened. But we do have, right after that chokeslam, Powerhouse Hobbs and Paul White make their way outside of the building. So they're around like where the trucks, the production trucks are and all that stuff. And things are getting a little bit more interesting, but crazy at the same time. So now we have Powerhouse Hobbs and Paul White. They are outside of the building. They are on a pile of plywood, and we have Powerhouse Hobbs that lifts up Paul White and give him a power slam onto a car. Now, it's just a Honda, so it ain't nothing. But imagine taking your car to get fixed after that, and they're looking at you like, what the hell did you hit? And it was like really cool to see Hobbs be able to do something like that. Now, was it the cleanest power slam I've ever seen? No. But for him to do that was absolutely insane. Now, we do have the medical personnel and the referees and everybody coming out to check on Paul. And we will see this bitch for the rest of the night. And you know what? I don't know if he would have been able to continue for the rest of the night. Now, back to the ring. Everybody else is over there. And we have Takeshita, who's swinging a bike at everybody from the other team, which was insane. He goes and gives Ibushi a brainbuster onto that bike. And while he does that, Ibushi gets hurt, but he hurts himself in the process too. And I'm just wondering, damn, I mean, did we really need a bike in the ring? That's crazy. Now, Ibushi was the one who brought that bike out there because he comes down the ramp riding down that bike, and he have a lead pipe in his hand, and he's knocking out people with the pipe. And then while he's doing that, here comes Brian Cage that gives him a massive lariat, and he flips off the bike. And I thought that was actually pretty cool. But the bike really wasn't really needed to be swung around on people in the ring. Now, there was a weird moment here where Kenny Omega's in the ring with Kyle Fletcher and Brian Cage. They are both giving Kenny a beatdown. And Ibushi could be seen just casually walking around outside the ring, not necessarily doing anything. And I'm like, Ibushi, so you're not seeing that Kenny in the ring by himself getting his ass whooped? I kind of thought that was a little bit weird, because Ibushi was the only one out there. Now, Takeshita and Jericho, they were back where the concession stands, where all the fans are out, the bathrooms and all that stuff, handling their business out over there. But I thought that it was a little strange that Ibushi didn't do anything. We also had Kenny Omega, who has a beer bottle, and he smashes it onto Kyle Fletcher's head. And in the process, he ended up slicing his hand open, so he's bleeding. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, you guys are doing the most. I don't know if I can necessarily enjoy all this, but I'm just still watching. Now, Kyle Fletcher, he's out the ring and he's bleeding on his forehead, and he looks like I should have stayed the fuck home. And honestly, I don't disagree with that either. Now, we do have Brian Cage, who gives Kenny Omega a super suplex onto two tables that are outside the ring. That was another crazy spot here in this match. And probably the craziest spot is Kyle Fletcher giving Kota Ibushi a tombstone pile driver onto a pile of chairs that had like a big sign on it or whatever. That looked insane. And for whatever reason, Ibushi, I felt like either Kyle was hurt from doing that, or Ibushi just didn't really sell it like that, because Ibushi seemed to just get right back up like The Undertaker, and it didn't seem to have phased him as much. But we saw Kyle Fletcher being the one that was laid out, but he was the one that hit the tombstone. So honestly, I don't know what all that was about. But Powerhouse Hobbs makes his way back to the ring. Chris Jericho and Kenny ends up taping his ass up to the ropes, just like how Don Callis' family had did to Kenny a couple of weeks ago. So that part was okay, but I was like, damn, what brand tape y'all using? Because this is really gonna have to work on somebody as big as Powerhouse Hobbs. But it ends up holding him onto the ropes, and they end up taping his mouth so he can shut the fuck up while they beat his ass up. Now, we do have what's his name? Kenny Omega taking the win, giving Brian Cage a one-winged angel. So I was glad it was over at that point. Now, when I look at this match, I'm like, okay, when you and your homies get together and y'all plan on doing foolishness, it sounds cool up until the point that you guys do it. And this whole thing kind of reminds me of this interview a little boy did. He was like, I don't know, maybe less than 10 years old, something like that. And he went joyriding with his grandma's car. And they asked him, why did you do that? Like, why did you take your grandma's car and go out driving in the street? And he said, I wanted to do hood rat things with my friends. This is what that is. You know, you doing some stupid shit with your friends, and at the same time you're promoting a video game or whatever. There was some cool stuff in this, but like, is it wrestling to me? No. So after that match, we do have one segment. Obviously, MJF, he comes out. He's apologizing to the Acclaim. He says everyone that he starts to somewhat like, they end up getting hurt because of him. With all the situation that he got going on with whoever it is in the Devil's Mask or whatnot, they ended up hurting the Acclaim last week. Now, with this promo, he was super, super vulnerable. And while I miss my heel MJF, I really feel like he has shown so much versatility between being a massive heel and a mega babyface. And I love that when you can show so much range between being either type of character in pro wrestling. So I really, really enjoy what he's been able to do, but I need my heel MJF back. Now, he also says that whoever it is that's parading around with the Devil's Mask, tarnishing his good name, that there's going to be hell to pay when he finds out who they are. We also have Jay White, who comes out basically letting everyone know that I don't know why you asking or trying to find out who the hell is into that Devil's Mask when it's you. No one should be trusting you. Everybody loves you right now, but you shouldn't be trusted. And he also lets him know that at Full Gear, he's going to take the Triple B and he's going to be the champion. And he said, hey, I got 2 words for you. And normally he'll say guns up, but this time he says, get him. And I'm like, get him? What are you talking about? Then here comes the Bang Bang Gang. They come out from through the crowd and they come in and they attack our boy, our scumbag, MJF, and they lay him out in the ring. And, you know, the show ends off like that, but we do get the chance to see for a couple of seconds, Samoa Joe, he is watching from the back. He doesn't really necessarily look happy about it, but he doesn't look upset about it either. He's just waiting for MJF to start crawling to him and begging for his help. Was the episode great? I mean, it was what it was. Didn't really feel like a go-home show in terms of the pay-per-view being on Saturday. So I do feel like they do have Collision and Rampage, which are going to be on Friday. Yes, Collision's going to be on Friday at 8. They have those 3 hours right there to kind of redeem themselves a little bit, to make us feel a little bit more amped up for the Full Gear pay-per-view. They're still going to get my money for the pay-per-view anyway, but I could see a lot of other people not necessarily being totally convinced and hyped up going to this pay-per-view on Saturday. But either way, you're looking for 2 hours to spend on some wrestling, go ahead and check out Dynamite. At least you can fast forward to anything you don't like that you're seeing. So it is what it is. But hey, I'll be back tomorrow with my review on Ring of Honor. Tony Khan has an announcement regarding the TV title, and yeah, it's going to be another tournament. I'm sure of it.